What's going on? It's episode 8 of Getting My Rants with Jack, Will in the middle, and Cannon. He's the guy with the peace sign up. Normally I would do introductions, and I'll do that after this, but I'm fucking on fire right now. I gotta.
If you don't know us, then
Yeah,
you don't.
I'm on
You
fire right
this
now. So
channel.
first topic. It is 9:15. I will admit I had some problems getting on because my camera and some other shit, but Cannon, why the fuck were you asleep until like 8 o'clock today? You message us at like I was like, what time can we do this today? And you message us at like 2 p.m. 2 p.m. You're like 7 p.m. question mark? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And then I sent a message at around 6:30. I'm like, hey guys, I'm probably gonna eat, so I need to like wait until 7:30. And I was like, wait, Cannon never responded. Hold on a sec. Cannon, you awake? No response. I was like, you motherfucker. So Cannon, why were you asleep? Or were you asleep? Were you doing something else? Why were you
Well, I
asleep?
wasn't. The thing is, here,
Okay.
the thing about
Yeah,
sleep,
go, 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 yeah. Go,
the thing
go.
about sleep is you don't always plan to go to sleep. Sometimes you just fall asleep.
And
You
that's why
know.
we call you a tired motherfucker, huh?
But listen, I was just in my bed, minding my own business, watching some
Anime?
anime.
Mm.
And then no, it was Critical Role. I was watching Critical Role,
Oh, so just
and
like that one time you were playing D&D for me and Will on Discord and you fucking fell asleep at your desk. This time you're in your bed and you fell asleep watching Critical Role.
oh, I don't. That's weird how memory works. I don't, well, jeez. Um, okay.
Canon hopes we all have dementia at the age of 20.
No, so yeah, I fell asleep and I was like, because I was technically not busy, I was just unable to respond to stimuli.
So you were asleep! But why? Why did you fall asleep though?
I just fell asleep. I guess I got comfortable.
Why didn't you like drink coffee to prevent yourself from falling asleep? Don't.
Well, because it was only like 4 in the afternoon, and I thought I was, like I didn't think I was gonna fall asleep,
Okay,
and then I was
so
like, it's only 4.
so here's the thing. If this was a one-time occurrence, I'd buy that. But you fall asleep in D&D sessions before D&C sessions before.
Okay, no,
All
the
right,
other
Will
times
Will hit the evidence. Last week's D&D session for your campaign. What happened?
for whose campaign?
Will's
Or for Will's
campaign
campaign?
last week. Hit the evidence.
Oh, okay, that's different.
No, we let Will explain first, and then you can explain your side.
Uh, I asked the boys. The boys said in the chat, D&D tonight. Can said yes, 7. 7 o'clock rolled around. Everyone was there, but Cannon. We started the session without him. He popped in later at 8:30. That's it. That's the whole
Okay,
story.
Cannon. So you want to explain that instance now?
So
Welcome to Get My
over
Rants, where we rant.
over spring break and in this
Oh, I see a ring
quarantine,
on your finger. Is that the ring I paid $20 for? You fuck.
no,
Okay,
it's
all right. Well,
not.
we can get to that later. Oh, that's a whole nother. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
you go.
Okay, so right. Okay, so I didn't think about what we were talking about. You distracted me. So that's different. Okay. That time I was asleep. Okay, so over spring break, I didn't have to wake up for anything. So my sleep schedule slowly shifted until I was going to bed at noon and waking up at 8 at night.
Okay,
And
but
so I was like, I went to bed at like 10 in the morning that day, and I was like, oh, no biggie, I'll be awake in time. It's not like I need to set an alarm for anything, right? There's no way I'm gonna sleep all the way until Will D&D session. So I went to bed at like noon or something like that, and then I woke up at like 8:30 in the middle of the session, and I was like, oh fuck.
so why did this happen though? Because this didn't happen to
Well,
me. I have nothing to wake up for, except I guess Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But I don't need the credit for participation.
ah,
So
it all started one night when me and Will stayed awake until 5 in the morning playing video games together. And that's not Will's fault. We just both mutually made that decision. And then
Mhm.
I kept watching YouTube videos, at which point usually I just get tired and fall asleep, right?
Mhm.
That's how like I go to bed. Like I put my headphones on, I listen to music, or I watch a YouTube video, and I get tired and I fall asleep. And that didn't happen. And then I blinked and it was like 10 in the morning. And then I was like, okay, now I'm tired, and went to bed.
Okay, so that's one night, but then why didn't you recover? Because normally one night isn't bad enough to like fuck over everything.
Because then it snowballed, Jack.
No,
No,
okay,
because
we
then,
do this. Oh
because
no
then
no
the
no no
boys.
no no no. Hear me out. We do this shit sometimes. Like sometimes we stay up until like 5 or like 7 a.m. Like I've done this before. But the next day I bounce back because I'm like,
Well,
oh
the
shit.
reason, well, usually I'd bounce back because I would have to be up for like school or something like that eventually. But that never happened
But don't you
because I
have
had
any
spring
like
break.
personal motivation to like wake up to like have something to do in the day? You're like, huh? It's like 12 o'clock, like 12 a. Hit noon. I have something I need to do. Like maybe like eat or I don't know, plan D&D, or anything along those lines. Like, don't you have personal like? I've stuck indoors all day, but like, I'm just. It's interesting to me. I don't know.
Well, none of those are time sensitive, so it's just like when I don't really schedule my
Okay,
day
so
out like
you just
that.
think like that's in the future and that doesn't matter.
No, I just like I'm like, oh, well, I didn't do it like earlier today, but I still like woke up, still had 8 hours of sleep. I'm gonna just do it now instead.
Okay.
Same with my classes. They're
Okay.
all online now, so I just do my work at night.
I understand that. It's just interesting to me how like this snowballed in this whole thing. Interesting, but all right. So I guess we just should not expect you to be awake until like 8 o'clock from now on.
No, that was just a nap today. Like I said, I'm back on a normal sleep schedule now.
Oh, okay, good. What did your parents think of you during this period of time?
Um, it created a lot of conflicts
Yeah, I
because
figured. Dude, my first thought was like, if I did that shit, my ass would be beaten. Like, there's no way I'd get away with that kind of shit. But anyways.
no, because my dad would wake me up in the middle of the night for me, right?
So at a
So like
reasonable time in the morning that people would wake up.
no. So he would come over at like let's say 4 in the afternoon, wake me up and ask me for something, and I'd be like, yeah, cool, and then and then I'd fall back asleep and wake up at like 8, and he'd be like, Cannon, why didn't you do that thing? I was like, what thing? Because I wouldn't remember it because I was in the middle of my slumber.
So that's your dad. Mind providing an example of a time he asked you for something and he flipped shit at you for not figuring it out.
Oh, he didn't flip shit. He was just like not happy.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah, he asked me to carry something heavy from our neighbor's house to our
Yeah.
house. Yes, like 4 days ago, maybe 5 days ago.
Mm.
And I was like, yeah, okay. And then because he called on my Amazon Echo device, and I just like am so used to like that thing going off. That's my alarm, right? So I automatically just go like, like Alexa, this or that, cancel. And so I woke up, did that, and then immediately was like, okay, and then just crashed again because I wasn't actually awake.
Hmm. Okay. What about your mom? What did your mom think of you during this period of time?
Oh, she made fun of me,
Okay.
but nothing really beyond that. Yeah, it was just weird because like my mom goes to bed at like 10, so I only saw her for like 2 hours out of the day. So it's like if she needed something from me, she like had to talk to me then.
She never. Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, that's all
My
I needed.
mom, because of my childhood, um, my mom tends not to try and force me to do things, because as a shitty child, I pushed back so much so often that she took a hands-off approach as a parent.
Well, you see, my parents also took a hands-off approach after middle school. I don't know.
Yes.
I never got bothered after middle school because we always had a good deal going. We had a good it was like a government contract, but whatever. Will, you there?
Yep, having a little malfunction with my permanent retainer. Give me a sec.
Okay, no worries, no worries. Well, we can keep going with this. So now that that's out of the way, I just had a fire burning, so I needed to know what was going on. Now we can do some introductions. So this is episode 8 of Getting My Rants. I've already introduced who we are. This is like week 4 of the quarantine for us here in Chicago. Probably
Yep.
week 4. I don't even know what week it is.
It's
I
like day 20 something.
Yeah. Um,
29 or something.
I don't talk to you guys very often right now because I'm busy doing stuff. But how have your lives been during this quarantine? How have you been impacted? When did you? When did you? We can start with you, Cannon, because Will's doing something. But and then we can go to me. But when did you really like realize like, oh shit, like this is happening, like something's going on here, and like it was like different stages of it. I guess you can explain however like mentally you processed what
So
was going on.
for me, I guess like oh shit, this is happening. It was sort of like I realized things are gonna happen starting a week before my spring break. So that'd be three weeks ago. 3 weeks ago was my the week before my spring break.
Yeah.
I guess we're sort of nearing the end of this week now. So yeah,
It was
three
like
weeks ago.
before the 27th for you, right? That was like the Friday for you guys.
Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So
because my
that
school
was the week
closed.
of the 27th.
Yeah, I think my school closed everything on the by the 13th. Everything was like pretty much closed.
Yeah,
Um,
so on Friday the 20th, which was exactly a month ago,
yeah,
or exactly 4 weeks ago rather, um, they had announced that our school
yeah,
had announced that they were going to be doing sort of like a hybrid week. Only come in if you have to, sort of things. Like only if you need to do a lab, you can come in for that. But for normal lectures, use online materials. And by Monday night of that week, they had said, just kidding, campus is fully closed to all students.
yeah,
So that's like within a 4 day period, that just changed like almost like it felt like overnight.
yeah.
And that's when I realized I was like, wow, okay, so they're starting to take this kind of seriously because CLC's like, oh, we're just like, oh shit, I just leaked. But my school is like it's community college, so it's like they were like, oh, okay, well, we're not that big of a school, we haven't had any cases, maybe we can hold it out, you know what I mean? Because if they people are gonna try and resist change and at least like till like spring break, we had only 1 week until spring break, so at that point, they were like, okay, well, shit, this is too serious now. And it's probably a good thing, too, because within that week, the first cases of corona of students that were at school started to appear.
Oh, really?
So, yep. They had like 2 confirmed cases by the end of the week, I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
But then
that's interesting.
at that point,
Uh,
I was like, I was on spring break, and I was like, yeah, I had some work to do over spring break, college apps, things like that. Um, But I mean, that's kind of when my sleep schedule went to shit. And then by the time this spring break was over, I came back to school and it was like I only have one class that meets now online. So like every class had like one meeting to say, yeah, we're not gonna have regular meetings. I was like, okay, except for one class which kind of needs the instruction. It's just hard material. Uh, and so but we don't meet until 2 in the afternoon. So it's like I was like, okay, well, I had no incentive to change that sleep schedule anymore because I was like, well, I always did my homework at night anyways. You know what I mean? Like I always worked at night. Like I'm not like a morning person when it comes to doing schoolwork. I just have never done it before, so I just don't know how to get into that rhythm. So I was just like, okay, well, I just have more hours to kind of grind at night on things,
okay,
like
so
and like no mean
the
like
big
on D&D
right.
school everything.
Alright, we can get to more of that like other shit later. But I was curious more about like the swap from like when it was like normal life to like okay, we're doing like quarantine stuff. So for you, it was literally like when your school was like, okay, we're actually going like hybrid to online now.
Yeah. But I guess it's like what I was trying to say with all of that was sort of like it's been really weird for me because spring break was right after all that shit hit the fan.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess since Will's still gone, I'll go with me. So we had come back from C2E2 and like there was already like rumors amassing about the virus.
Yeah.
C2E2 was what the 7th and the 8th.
Yeah, I think so.
Was it actually? Okay, so
The way no, it
no,
would
no,
have
no. It would have
been
been it was the
14,
29th, right?
13,
Oh, it was the 14th and 13th, really?
wasn't it? Or
Of
that or the 20th?
February? It was March,
No,
wasn't it? It was like wasn't it or wasn't it February 29th or something?
um, maybe.
All right, well, regardless, it was
I'll
like
check.
sometime after that like we knew corona was going on and then I think so for us it was around like the 11th, March 11th that like we had the email go out where like we already knew some classes people were going online, but like I think it was by the 13th that like pretty
Mm-hmm.
much like everyone was saying like, oh yeah, uh, there was an email sent out I think on the 12th or on the 11th, sorry, of the Wednesday that said like 13th onward, like that Friday onward, all classes are going online. So we were like, oh shit, and
And
then they started kicking students out of the dorm. But even then, like that wasn't like really for me. Like I was like, oh whatever, like that doesn't change my life because I live in an apartment, right? So for me, what what really changed was the next week. So the 16th, the Monday, I was at the school gym and like I had asked them like every weekend before, like, hey, how long are you guys gonna stay open? Because like everything else is closing down. They're like, yeah, we're gonna try our best to stay open, but it depends on like what the school does, obviously. And I was there like about to. I was like there at like 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and they sent an email out in the middle of me being there that said like, yeah, this is the last day we're gonna be open. We're closed like starting after 5 o'clock today. And I was like, no, I can't stay here anymore. I need to go home. They're
for the
closing down the
gym.
school gym. Yeah, so that was it was funny because the day before I told someone like, yeah, I'm probably gonna stay until the end of the month, just do finish research
Well,
stuff.
I
And
mean, at that point, your classes, you basically had an extra spring break week because your teachers were all learning how to use online.
no, my teachers had class that week, even though they weren't supposed to. They still put classes that week, but I don't really care.
Uh,
That doesn't matter.
well, it was still your schedule was considerably open comparatively to a normal week.
I mean, the thing is like if my schedule's open, I'll fill it up with like stuff. So it doesn't change much
Yeah,
for me.
but the flexibility, I mean.
I guess the point is though like that didn't really like change anything for me. So that was like
Sure.
one moment of change. And then the next day I went in to do for my research lab and the professor was like, "Yeah, how far are you guys with like everything cuz they're going to close down the building by the end of the week." And I was like, "Oh shit. Now I have to like sit in here and grind for like the next like 2 days." So I sat in there, hunkered down, grinded on the Tuesday and Wednesday and I managed to actually finish everything by then. Very simple stuff, but I went home on the Thursday, the 19th, and yeah, that's the when I realized, wow, everything really is going to go on lock for a while. So that was that
Yeah.
was that was for me. What about you, Will? When did all this stuff really like was like, oh shit, things are happening now?
Once Culver's closed,
uh, Culver's was your gym. I like it. I like it.
once Culver's closed, I was like, oh, this is some shenanigans.
Well, that's when all
Because
the
I don't have regular
closed.
classes. I'm already online.
Yeah.
So
Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, the thing is though, all the restaurants closed. So
Yeah, but Culver specifically,
yeah,
that's the
there's
boys.
Culver's
That's the
specifically.
boys. Culver's is
they
for the
didn't.
boys.
True. Well, we tried to go to Culver's and then they were.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's enough of that. We can get on to some more. Toward the end of the show, we're gonna have one last topic regarding like some of the Corona stuff, like during it. But, Will, why don't you hit us with one of your topics now?
I couldn't find my topics list.
All right.
I will make one up.
On the fly, use your genius.
Uh huh.
Oh, jeez. So
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like, besides obviously physically going to classes and stuff like that, has like one more thing just like on what we're talking weird times. And it's like, what if people like I know I talked about like how my daily schedule's up a bit just for me personally, but like what have you guys like what like weird have you guys experienced any weird changes with your daily lives because of
Mm,
quarantine?
not really. I
I'm
mean,
not allowed to hang out with my friends.
Yeah, I feel like that was the big thing. Everyone's in
And
town
my
but no one's
motivation
in.
to go to work has just dropped severely.
Well, that's because your work environment's fucking toxic now.
Uh-huh.
Um,
all right. You have a topic one?
I technically am
My
unemployed
permanent
now.
retainer broke. I'm so sad.
Oh shit! And you
Yeah,
can't
you
get
can't-
fixed for 2 months now.
I know. I thought it's spiking me.
Oh
It literally broke like 5 minutes ago. I took a
yeah.
bite of that pizza and it just broke. It
Some strong pizza, dude.
Unlucky, dude.
was the crust, dude.
See, I
Um,
was that frozen pizza?
No, it was leftovers.
Oh. Well, so
It was
reheated
cold
though, right?
pizza though.
Yeah,
No, it
I
was
mean,
cold.
oh, okay, cold.
I
The
hate
thing is,
cold
like,
pizza.
on whenever I have to like reheat pizza or like it's frozen pizza, I almost never eat the crust because I always feel like the bread is way too like thick, if
Same
it's not
here.
like fresh. That's why like that's the thing is like I always like thin crust because like I can just eat the whole thing, whereas like thick crust is like I can eat it when it's fresh, but then afterwards like I still like cold pizza, but I don't like the crust afterwards. It's not as good for
I
me.
hate cold pizza.
I'm also one of those people who like when you eat thick pizza, I need a shit ton of sauce because like it's too thick for me, so I need like marinara or like ranch or barbecue or something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like too much bread. You know, I can't down that much dough.
Pizza ranch. Yeah.
Dude, ranch is lit. Are you kidding me? You don't like ranch?
Ranch goes with a
No.
lot of stuff.
Oh
I hate
man,
ranch. Ranch is garbage.
I don't like
What,
the
what do you
only
eat with
sauce.
wings?
Wings are
Hmm?
different than pizza though.
What do you eat with wings, Will?
Barbecue if I need to, but I don't even like barbecue sauce that much. I like the lemon zest wings more.
You know what Domino's needs? Honey mustard. I don't need any of that garlic sauce, that like really greasy ass. Like I don't want that. I want honey mustard. That's what I need. All right. Well, if you have nothing right now, I have another thing for you.
Oh, I remember like one of the topics, but it's I don't know if this group is the best one to talk about, and I don't know if you want to talk about it. I'll
Okay.
type it in the chat. You can tell me if you want to talk about it.
Wait, can you type it in Snapchat? I'm checking my phone.
Oh, I was gonna type in the Discord call.
Well, because it'll show up.
Yeah, it'll show up on my thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Yo, on the down low, why are you guys all hating on Almond Joy? I saw that on the Discord that all of you apparently don't like Almond Joy.
I actually
One
don't
night,
eat almond joy
one
that
night we got into discussion about snacks and candy, and it got pretty heated. And we were I said I put almond joy as my almond joy and Mounds are probably like the worst candy bars out there. Not worst candy, it's worst candy bars because we were talking about candy bars. And then Cole said that he liked almond joy. We are just making so we just kept shitting on all.
Oh, you guys don't appreciate Almond Joys. I gotta say. I think Almond Joys are
they're
fun.
okay. They're like in reality they're like C tier. I made mine as a meme list though.
Almond Joys are.
I actually my taste as far as candy bars go is like as soon as I saw everyone ranking their shit, I realized my taste in candy bar are very different than everybody else.
You have a very
Hey,
basic.
no, Will. All right. After this conversation, we can go into Will's thing. I think this is a
Isn't
perfect.
Snickers your
This is
S
a
tier?
perfect. Snickers is really basic, but that's fine. The thing is, like,
Snickers is like the vanilla ice cream of candy.
I feel like I would have to define the tiers. Like, what is C tier to me? Is like C tier like average? I would just like eat, or is like you know what I mean? Like, or like A tier is like I would pay money for. You know what I mean? Like, I'd
We
have to
did it in
define
the style of how would you eat your Halloween candy? Like as a kid, it's like, oh, like this is in my bag. Would I like? Obviously, you're gonna
Like,
eat.
would you
everything,
trade it or something?
probably. Yeah, yeah. So like
Oh,
for
okay, yeah,
me,
sure.
my was literally like, I'm gonna try to trade this at all costs. If I can't trade it, I'm not gonna eat it anyways. My D tier was like, I'm gonna trade this if I can, but if it's there still at the end, I'll eat it, like peppers and stuff.
Yeah.
But and then my C tier was like, it's not like my first go-to pick, but if it's there, like I'm gonna eat it. It's like bad, but it's not like my favorite.
I
And then B tier was like, this is good, but not my favorite. Not no, I have to have this.
see.
And then I thought of A and B tier more as like, if I was in a gas station, pick this up.
Yeah. No, dude, the thing is like I feel like the problem with that is like economically speaking, Snickers and Hershey's are so common that every kid's going to be like that's not going to be their favorite thing because they're so available and I would always trade them away, you know. Like Snickers is like the standard for like if you want something in your bar that it's not like cuz Twix is more rare than Snickers, I feel like. Twix, Butterfinger, Kit Kat. Well, Kit Kats was also pretty common, but I feel like if the two most common like currency you could trade away was like Hershey's and Snickers, you know? Like that shit's just easy.
So this
yeah.
is the tier list that everyone was using Jack. I'll send on Discord here.
I don't really care about the. I'm not gonna make a tier list
Okay.
right now. I was just curious what your things. Anyways, we can hit on Will's topic. I love controversy. Not because I gaslight people, but this is a good one because I do have an opinion on this. So Will's topic
Oh,
was
boy.
should transgenders should transgenders be allowed in normal sports or should they have their own league? Was that
Yeah.
the premise?
Yeah, I was gonna say the one for Kook, but that's the only one I could think of.
Okay.
Off that.
Okay.
Personally, I 100% think they need their own league because if you think about it this way, there is well, okay, if it's a so say it's like a women's sport, right? So it's traditionally the sport is for women, and it makes sense for physical sports to be separated by gender because you actually do have biological constraints between various genders. Let's not deny science here, okay? But so say you have a man who's transitioning into a woman and he's on testosterone replacement therapy. I think it's almost inarguable that there's a clear advantage there, and there should probably be its own league for something like that. The struggle, of course, being is that you might not be able to find enough contestants, but I think to preserve integrity of the sport, you probably should have your own league for that because I know like it does suck that you as a transgender person would have to make this kind of like sacrifice that you wouldn't be able to compete with other women which you're identifying as. But the problem is that ultimately you would carry a significant advantage, right? And that would hurt the integrity of the sport, and that would suck a lot for everyone else there. So that's my
I,
opinion. I just think there is a proven difference when you see the fact that they are getting a like biological advantage.
yeah, I wish I could have talked to someone who's in this position because I only have a third person perspective on this matter. Um, and it's like for me, it's like one some of the things I've seen. It's like if you add, let's say, like use your example where it is a biological man who identifies as a woman and he's making that transference. Uh, and it's even hard because it's like, oh, well, obviously I'm not the most educated on this topic, so what like pronouns do I use in this situation even? But like, it's like if you ask them like, do you have a Y chromosome? The answer is yes. You know what I mean? And with that comes certain genetic like aspects of like your body, right?
Oh yeah, sorry.
So
I might have. I need to correct something I just said. I was talking about testosterone replacement. I meant like you're trying to get more estrogen, but your body is naturally producing more testosterone. To be more specific, sorry. Go on
yes,
to caveat what I was saying earlier.
so like yeah, obviously it's going to create issues going like back and forth there. But then the question is like would they still be allowed to like compete in the men's division as well? Or like that's why it's like oh maybe they have to have their own league. But then, within a certain professional area, there might not even be enough people to do their own league,
Yeah.
which
No.
means that they're just excluded.
I definitely think that's the case, but I also think there's a difference between sports where you directly compete against someone, so there's a risk of injury, versus like single sports where you're like trying to hit a certain like marker, like a runtime or like a weightlifting type thing, where
Hmm.
you're not directly like you're not going to injure someone else. I think in those sports you should be able to, if you're like a woman transitioning to a man or a man transitioning to a woman, or even if you're just a woman, like be able to compete in that sense because the chance of someone else injuring you would not happen, whereas you don't have an advantage. So you're actually competing at a disadvantage, but that's more favorable than like letting people with an advantage compete with those who have disadvantages. So that's like
Yeah.
an active choice that you can make toward that. And again, I know it sucks, but ultimately, like if you want to preserve the integrity of competition, that kind of has to happen.
I mean, and that's kind of the reason why the separation between men and women in
Right.
athletics existed originally. It's like, well, it's not like we're gonna fix. We can't fix physical aspects of our bodies how we want them to be, and that inherent difference does stand.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
I'm assuming you
yeah,
pretty much or will go on.
The two main like things I thought of with this topic, like weightlifting was a big thing, and uh, so for basically like the on the weightlifting thing, there's I was reading an article basically, and uh, a man transitioning into a female in high school wanted to compete in the not no, it was in college, wanted to compete in women's weightlifting and just smashed all the records because they're like genetically strong. And a lot of the female participants were very upset with that, especially the one who had the main like the record for it. Got mad that her record got smashed by basically a genetic man. And then another thing was in uh, combat sports in MMA. There was a um, man who transitioned into a female who wanted to fight in the women's UFC, not UFC, but like Bellator. It's like a minor martial arts group, and they refused her to fight because men have 162% punching power a female does, and stronger bones and everything like that, and would physically like injure these women. So they refused to have her in, and she made all this shit about hating on transgenders like that. And it's like, well, imagine if that was the opposite. Imagine if a female transitioned to a man, then, well, one, you would never be able to get to that level because you wouldn't like. I don't think they'd ever reach that level, at least in combat sports.
Hmm. Yeah.
But you could do it for a man and a female. Like, of course, you'd be at the top. You could literally break women's bones with like one punch. Like, so I don't know.
especially someone who's trained.
I think it's a terrible situation because you want to. include everyone, but there's literally like no way to do it unless you literally create an entire league. But there probably won't be enough people to play in it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think you have to like at that point just recognize that like you can't compete directly against people unless there's enough for a league, and you'd have to be competing for your own personal reasons like or like setting records for yourself, that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
versus like actually like being recognized in a competition because there is that advantage, and again direct on direct competition where it's very physical, not even for like something like MMA I would imagine, but like say for any sort of contact sport, I would imagine injury would be a huge concern, right? Not even for fighting stuff like that. That would be my primary concern for anything that involves contact.
But even then, like, it makes me think about like team sports and stuff like that. That like I feel like that's even a bigger thing. Like let's say you're a man that's transitioned into a woman and you want to play in women's like basketball or something. You could like let's say you accidentally like I don't know all the rules and stuff like you foul by like bumping into them, like using your momentum and stuff. That you could actually like injure them much more so because you're gonna have a larger body mass, you're gonna have more muscle and everything like that. Like I feel like that would also just be really disruptive,
Yeah, maybe for
even
fencing.
in a team setting. Fencing
I don't. I
is
think there's
hard.
probably a
Fencing
difference too. There's probably a difference too with fencing. But we
fencing
did get
you can use
bodied by
technique.
the women who were fencing at our high school. So they were better than us. So what can I
Yeah,
say?
in competitive leagues, it's separated because you're assuming everyone's at the same level.
Yeah.
But in fencing, you can use technique to your advantage and be considered a higher level than anybody.
Yeah. No, I'm sure there's actual differences that like reality speaking like there's a reason why it's separated. But at the minor level that we were at, it was
Well,
it
anyone
was
can
funny.
fence anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, in reality, it's just for professional standards.
Yeah.
You need to make that separation.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think we're mostly on consensus against for that kind of thing
Yeah.
because yeah, I mean safety is a big issue, so there's not much of a way to get around that. Cannon, do you have a topic?
Oh gosh.
Hey,
Did
Cannon,
you
how,
think of
how are
one of
the
your
how are
dreams?
how are the rings going by the way? So we paid this kid $20 like last year at the end of a D&D thing run by one of our friends who's like off in a different college, but when he comes back we do D&D as a group, right? And this motherfucker told us at the end of that like original run,
At the end of winter break,
yeah,
or like winter break is when I said would happen
it was like Thanksgiving break
originally.
maybe. Anyways,
Er,
it's
Well, it was on. Sorry, cut.
it was like Thanksgiving break, okay? Well, not winter
Okay,
break.
okay.
It was like Thanksgiving break, so it's been like almost 6 months now. What the fuck are our rings, Cannon?
Okay, so I actually have a few blanks, but obviously I don't like where I've been practicing on them, stuff like that. But the problem that I originally created was so for anyone who knows about woodworking, there's a tool called a lathe out there, and essentially I turned my drill press, which is a higher horsepower drill, but it's mounted on like a table and it's like vertical and it stays in place. It's very stable compared to like a drill and a lathe even more so. That's like orders of magnitude there in terms of horsepower and stability. And stability is really important when you're trying to make fine details happen on something like that, which is why I can't just use a drill or something like that to do this project. But essentially, I'm creating rings out of wood using veneer to wrap around a cylinder, like treating it with water and all these different things. And the problem was my apparatus for doing all the work on them, my drill press, which I turned into a lathe, broke. And by that I mean my dad broke it. And so essentially I was at a standstill after making 1.5 rings. And so pretty much just about 2 weeks ago, I got on Craigslist and I got a new, or 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I got on Craigslist and I was like, okay, well, listen, my dad's not going to fix this problem anytime soon. So I'm just going to go find a drill press. I found a guy. He sold me a drill press that was working all except for one thing for $40. That's an amazing deal considering new drill presses go for like starting at like 500 for anything that's worth it. Um, and so I went out there. It was like an hour drive, and I picked it up, brought it back, played around with like some of the components that were in my drill press versus his drill press, and got it working again. Just literally 8 days ago. And so now every like time I get a chance or something like that, and I'm not working on like schoolwork or not working on like D&D or apparently sleeping, um, I actually have been working on the stuff. But then it's like I know that I'm the type of person that's like if I show you guys what they look like I just don't want to show you guys what they look like, to be honest, because it's like I want it to be like a surprise, and I also, because it's taken so long, I've included extra features that I can't talk about because again I want it to be a surprise, but should hopefully maybe not make it worth the wait, but at least make it a little bit more special.
Okay, I was just curious. All right, Tony Stark, you keep enjoying your inventions, I guess. It's just one day the your venture capitalists are curious where their capital went. Will, you
That's
gotta.
fair enough. Harry actually never paid me.
Will also didn't pay you.
Oh, okay.
I paid. What do you mean?
Shut the fuck up, Will. That was
No,
the
I did.
what?
I
No,
thought he did.
Yes, I literally paid Kaden.
I swear the whole thing was that like you were
No,
like you didn't
Harry
pay.
didn't pay.
I thought the whole thing was like you didn't pay, and that's why you're like, ah, you idiots. Why would you have paid Canon like at the time? Like,
I thought I didn't pay, but then Can said I did, so apparently I did.
whatever. All right, Cannon. Now that I stalled time, give me a topic. Come on.
I
We told you to think about shit
uh,
for this.
just a let, and I asked for help. So
Why the fuck do you need
uh,
help? You
so
can use your brain.
it
Ask
has
your
been
brain
a
for
long
help.
time since I've been on one of these podcasts, and I forgot what the format's like.
The format is you talk about whatever shit you want to talk about. It's
Okay.
interesting.
Well, just as a last note for the rings thing, I asked for payment up front because at the time
You
I had
needed
just
capital, and we were
I
venture
needed capital.
capitalists. Yeah.
Yeah, I needed funding, and it sounded like a cool project you guys would be interested in. So,
Interested in funding. Anyways, it was like a Patreon. We're like, yeah, if you fund $20, you get this
a
ring.
Kickstarter.
Yeah,
Kickstarter.
and then yeah, sorry, Kickstarter, and that's our reward for the Kickstarter. And guess what? The fuck shit hasn't happened yet. Anyways, Cannon, what's on your mind, Cannon? Recently, you've been in isolation for 4 weeks now. You must be chalking up something with that noggin of yours.
Well, I can't. Oh God, this is gonna sound like gaslighting. I was gonna say I can't talk about D&D.
Oh, don't worry, Cannon. We'll get into that later.
Okay, okay. So, actually, no, that whole sleep thing actually has gotten me like wondering because it's like when I'm with my friends and stuff like that, and I'm talking in a setting like this, I'm actually like I feel normal, I feel
Yeah.
fine, and then like I talk to people and it's fine, and I just feel like normal as like when I'm talking to people. But like when I'm alone or something like that, and I'm tired like a lot more than I feel like I should be, like, and that's after like fixing my sleep schedule over the past like 2 or 3 days, and I was like, that's when I know, because like when my sleep schedule was up, I was like, oh, it's just because my sleep schedule is fucked. I just feel like tired, right? But now I'm back to like a normal sleep schedule, and I still feel like kind of fucked, and I'm like, that's like really weird, like when I'm not like talking to people and engaged, like I feel tired or unmotivated, or it's like I'm not hungry or something
See,
like
Cannon,
that.
I'm gonna tell you the secret to that later in the show when we get to the topic. But I'm
Oh
gonna tell you the
shit.
secret of why you're tired and why you feel unmotivated when you're tired. And the answer, you're not gonna like it, okay? It's all mental, by
Uh,
the way. It's all mental stuff. But
Yeah, and it's like, cause like normally like I feel like I'm a pretty happy
yeah,
person, but it's just like I'm tired way more than usual,
yeah.
and then I don't know like when I'm alone, it's like I just do my homework as much as I need to, then I'm like fuck, like I just go like lay down or something.
Yeah. Okay. Will, what do you have for me?
What?
You have anything you want to, or
A
do I?
topic?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I thought of one and I just forgot it.
God
Can't
damn
was
it.
talking about the thing. Um, I'm trying to remember.
Mm. Oh, what are you guys' initial thoughts on Valorant?
No, fuck no. I
It
don't. I
was
haven't played that game. I haven't played any video games in the last like 4 weeks. So
interesting. Okay, it just dropped this week, so the closed beta at least.
yeah, I mean, I
Um,
remember when I first played Overwatch, I thought that was fun, and then after a while, I was like, well, this isn't gonna be my main game, and then other people started playing it more and gaining more knowledge, and I was like, well, if I want to like play at that level, then I'm gonna have to pour a lot of time into it, and then I'm gonna try to grind to be like fucking diamond again, or not diamond, whatever the equivalent of 1% is in that game, and then I was like, that's not gonna be worth the time because I want to do that in League, so. I feel like that same shit would happen if I played Valorant, so I'm not gonna play Valorant.
Okay. Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, which I find it hard to believe, Valorant is a new game that Riot Games shooter. It's a lot like CS:GO, but it has elements of like special abilities, sort of like in Overwatch.
Yo, Will, if you can't think of a topic, that's fine, because the next one will be a doozy. It will probably occupy a lot of time.
Run
so if
it.
you want to get it,
Run
all right, run it. All right.
Let's get
Are you
into
ready?
it.
Will, you're excited for this one. You've been waiting a long ass time. All right.
Let's run it.
Okay,
You
in a
get
recent
back
episode of the famous League of Legends podcast /FF, Will brought up this point that Doublelift seemed to be unmotivated about the spring split, and in the middle of his speaking, he was bringing it up, and I was like, I just couldn't help myself from laughing, and Will was like, yeah, Jack, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and I just kept laughing and laughing and laughing. I wish I'd clipped that for this. I was actually thinking about clipping it for this, but on short notice, we had a lot of other issues going in before we started recording this, so I wasn't able to. So I could play it back, because if you watch the clip, it is very obvious to any three of us what is going on there. So, yeah, I don't know. Motivation is such an interesting topic to me, and I wanted to say that in uncertain times such as these, it's difficult to stay motivated to do things. But the thing is, like, we all have so much time now. We all have so much free time. Will, what have you been doing with your free time?
Well, besides working, I've been doing stuff. Yeah, we fought again.
What the fuck?
Been doing school stuff, and been playing D&D with the boys, also running for the you know.
Well, your schedule hasn't changed that much.
Yeah, no. I just been doing more.
Yeah.
Well, I still work. My work schedule's the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just the usual. Just doing the usual stuff.
All right. Cannon, so let me tell you the secret to your problem earlier. Right? You said you were tired all the time, okay? Now get your face in the camera. All right? I want to see how you look during this. All right, Cannon. The problem is realistically, and this is just a theory, okay? This is not some proven, like, I'm not some big brain
Sure.
ass over here. This is just my thoughts on like why you might be tired. Is that if you have a lot of time on your hands, but then like you don't necessarily have like this like, man, I'm super like I want to do this, like less motivation, more time, you're just gonna be tired because you have no like, yeah, I want to do this. And at some point, playing video games and stuff is gonna be boring to you. Like that's not gonna keep you awake. Watching anime, that's not gonna keep you awake because, in my opinion, right, if those are your easy ways to keep yourself like happy and active, the problem is constantly doing something the easy way to keep yourself happy and active. It's gonna burn out eventually. Like, your brain's gonna be like, I'm used to that already. It's no longer like what's gonna get you excited, right? If you're not like working towards something like very complex for you. So, in my opinion, I think you should seek to have a goal in mind to like work toward that, and that's like some new stimulus for your brain to be like, damn, that's like something I want. And that goal, in my opinion, should be D&D. And because this has been a long running thing, and we've talked about this before, but I feel like it's a great time to talk about it again because this started in 2018. Now, Canon, if you didn't know, ran this banger of a campaign called Goblin Slayers in late in 2018. Okay, and we memed on it, but the reality of the situation is it has its flaws, but it was good though, in the sense
Was
that
that 2019 or 2018?
no, late 2018 was Goblin Slayers.
Hmm.
It was our sophomore. Well, I get we shouldn't talk sophomore that type of stuff, but because that timeline is different for everyone. But the point is that it was late 2018. After Goblin Slayers came out, and it was a weekly, very, very antagonist of the week mission type, like slice of life anime type of D&D
chill.
campaign. It was very chill. The major criticisms was the lack of like overarching, an overarching plot, but
Well, that's because I didn't make one.
yeah. Oh, you admit it now. Okay. Motherfucker. Anyways, so
The truth comes out.
What?
And years later,
Wait,
the
is
truth.
that something I didn't admit before?
No,
Yeah,
you are, dude. You were. I remember every time you guys came to my apartment, or not my apartment, my dorm at the time. You guys, you guys were like, before we would go to sleep, we'd sit on the floor and we'd have a conversation like, oh yeah, Cannon, you know, yeah, Will was trying to help your ass, trying to come up with a plot, and you're like, yeah, I have these ideas. Like, don't worry, Will, I have a plot there.
I had a lot of ideas about where I could have gone, but I didn't lay down any groundwork for you guys to go for them yet.
Okay, well, we can get to, anyways.
Sure.
So, overall though, Cannon actually DM'd pretty well. We enjoyed it. So like, I guess we can't talk publicly on this, but the point is we like that though. We like that, and
You guys had a good time.
yeah, we had a good time. 2019, spring break. Cannon's like, don't worry, guys. I'll have a campaign for us after spring break of
That's
2019. After spring break of 2019. Oh, don't worry, guys. In the summer, I'll have more time in the summer. I'm busy with finals right now. In the summer, I have a lot of time. Okay. Summer comes around. Oh man, guys, I'm so busy. I don't know why. I thought I'd have more time. Next semester, though, I don't have as many classes next semester. So after the summer's done, we can do the campaign. Next semester rolls around. Guys, I'm so busy with class and work and like balancing my life and engineering club. Oh my god, engineering club. That's taxing. We're gonna have to wait until after Thanksgiving break, see how it goes. After
what?
Thanksgiving break.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, guys, I don't know. Nothing changed. I have finals coming up soon. Winter break, winter break. Don't worry, guys. I have a lot of time after winter break. Like during winter break, we'll start it during winter break. Winter break comes around, guys. I have a lot of work. I just had so much more work than I expected. I can't do it. I can't do it right now. Don't worry, guys. Next semester, I'm only taking like 3 classes next semester. What's wrong?
Oh.
January 2020 rolls around. Don't worry, guys.
Anyway, at that point, I had started saying it's like at the earliest I was like, I feel like I've been promising too much.
No,
because
no,
of
no, no,
that.
no. January 2020. You're like, guys, I was very busy. Like this is this semester, okay? Guys, I'm
Yes.
very busy, okay? I'm sorry. I'm very busy. I was busier than expected, just like all the other 3 semesters I promised this shit. Anyways, um spring break. We'll start this around spring break, okay? Then the
Well,
next 2 months.
that's
No, 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 no. Hold on, hold on. Then the next 2 months, you and Will went back and forth, and you kept going like, Will, I never promised spring break, okay? I said after spring break we might start, and then you're like, and then spring break finally rolls around a few weeks ago. What happened to all that free time, Cannon? What happened to all
wait,
that free time?
no. I've been working. Like, I was telling Will theoretically I could start by this.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Will, what,
I have enough
Will,
material.
what are your thoughts on this?
I'll believe it when I see it.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I haven't given you guys a reason to, but I'm just saying it's like as soon as Will said this, I was like my fucking like my high, like my like right was just killed. And I was like thinking, I was like
Wait, what did Will
said,
say?
It's like Will said it's like listen, dude, like this might not be like necessarily the best time to start, right? Like I think we had some kind of conversation along these lines, and I was like thinking to myself, it's like, oh shit, you're right, because I'm playing in Will's campaign, and I'm playing in Awad's campaign, and John's trying to start a campaign, and like Harry's gonna be back during the summer, and I was just thinking it's like there's not really an optimal time to start this up, in my opinion, because the problem is it's like I guess it's more open with quarantine now, but the problem is like it's like when do people have time to play was the original thing. I'm thinking about this now, and it's like wow, there's a lot less bars because of quarantine. I actually just hadn't thought about. Um, so I guess I was thinking it's like I was like thinking in my mind. I'd never considered about what a start time, like what a good start time would be. You know what I mean?
Okay, here's my 2 cents on thinking about start times. It's great to think of like this big brain, like, oh, this is the optimal, like, this is when we're gonna do it optimally, and we're gonna min max for this time, and that's gonna get everyone motivated to like snowball into this period of time where we're gonna have time to play, and we're gonna schedule. That's great and all, but rarely in life I feel like do those situations occur. And this isn't just D&D, this is just everything. In my opinion, when people start concerning themselves about like when optimally to start something, that's their first fuck up. You just need to start, motherfucker, in my opinion. Like if you want
Mm.
something to like get done, you just need to start and accept that there's going to be mistakes along the way, and because life will always present it, okay, my biggest thing with this like cycle was that like because this is something we talked about like over this year cycle of this is like I never had any. See, Cannon, I always liked the meme, but I was never disappointed in you. Why? Because I already settled with my thoughts. My thoughts was this like you like D&D in the sense that you like the idea of D&D. Okay, you liked running it, but you didn't like planning it as much. Okay, you like the idea of planning it because you like the idea of like yeah I'm gonna sit down I'm gonna write D&D, but when it came to that there was a reason you didn't do it. Okay, so you can in your mind right now you're still thinking Jack, no, you're wrong, you're wrong. I liked planning D&D, but it see you're thinking you like D&D and planning it, but when it comes down and we told you sit your ass down and plan it, it's not something you'd feel good about doing, right? So in my opinion, what's happening is that you have all these things in life that are gonna get in your way and like cause time to happen, right? And as a result, or sorry, cause you to be busy. And as a result, you're thinking like, well, now I want to relax and I want to do something else. So then you're gonna go get online and play video games. And in my opinion, that's like always our tendency is to do if something's not high enough on our priority, right? Because then it's like, well, I just want to relax, and that's not high enough on the priority. Because life will always offer up excuses for something. If something's high enough on the priority, it will overcome the burdens that life will always offer. Because there's always going to be something in your life that like lets you say like, man, I'm busy and I don't want to do it. Because that's always like the way to like excuse yourself, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of saying like I'm busy. Whereas in reality, I think it's more so like you like it, but even if you were given the time, it's like, fuck, oh, I have time? Shit. And then you find another excuse and it's like, no, I don't actually have time. So I'm not flaming you for like being lazy or anything. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I'm just saying like you gotta be more realistic with where your goals were. Where it was like you really like you really wanted to run the campaign and you really thought about like, man, I want to be the big brain DM. I want to plan it and I want to have this like start and like, oh man, I want to be revered by my players. I want to run this shit and be revered. I'm gonna make up for my, I'm gonna do it better than I did last time. But the reality is, there's these other factors in the way, and then here's D&D, and it's like, oh man, I'm busy here, and then it's like, well, D&D, I really like D&D though, and I think, all right, Will, your turn. Does he like D&D? Do you think Cannon really likes D&D? Do you like D&D, Will?
I like D&D when you can play D&D. It seems
that's
very hard to play.
I like that answer a lot more, Will.
That's what my answer's always been.
Nope.
Oh.
What do you mean? I literally said I like D&D. I think it's hard to play.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. You did say that, but you always like ended like your conclusions with like fuck D&D because it's like fundamentally flawed because you can't corral 4 monkeys together to play at the same time every week.
It is fundamentally flawed. It's a game that relies on a bunch of people to play, and if you can't get people to play, it's fine.
Cannon, you disagree? Rebuttal?
I disagree. I mean, like, think about, like, obviously, like, it's hard because you need people dedicated to the specific topic, but it's like there are plenty of other things that, like, rely on getting other people to play, like, that game where you need other people to play. Like, any other video game that's multiplayer, you go on to matchmaking, and there's a larger player base, which makes it, right? But at the same time, it's, like, still the same mechanic of, like, getting people engaged. So I think that the difference is that you need to, like we were saying, like what's our optimal party of people, right? Like, well, that optimal party of people in reality is people who can show up. And if you can't, then you shouldn't have played with them in the first place.
It's not so much the game, I guess. It's more so, in my experience, fundamental flaw has been getting people to be dedicated.
Fair enough.
It's more so what I was going for.
Yeah.
All right, Cannon. So now,
Yes.
if we think about it, right? So with what I said before, where like life presents a lot of excuses. Well, now life has granted a gift to everyone, and I think this whole Corona thing is very interesting, right? Because everyone now has a lot of time on their hands, and I think this is actually a great social experiment to see what people are like after coming out of this scenario. If they spent this time improving themselves, or if they spent this time degrading into a worse human being. Now that you've been presented with all this free time, do you feel like yourself like you've taken advantage of this time to like think about like the planning and other stuff and it's like now I have time, or do you feel like it's been filled up with other stuff that like you've been doing other things?
I feel like I've been doing more things with my time.
Okay,
But
sure.
not enough more because I have so much time now. Because like my classes had a lot of required bullshit before, right? For this semester, the 4 classes I have. But now all that required bullshit's gone. Like one of my lab classes, we don't even have labs. We just have worksheets essentially, and so you can just pump that out. And I just did half of them for the rest of the semester already. So it's like I I have a lot of time, and I've been doing more stuff with it, relating to the rings, relating to D&D, playing more video games. But I haven't been doing enough. Like, actually, you said this very interestingly earlier. I haven't been doing enough, and I'll get back to that comment in a second. But I haven't been doing enough things to make myself feel like I'm using all my time productively, and I end up being bored a lot. Like you were saying, it's like if those are your normal easy way out, like for like anime, YouTube, video games, right? Eventually, you're gonna become bored of them. I think that's exactly what happened to me though. Like because I've been doing like been productive for the most part and getting my normal work done, but then that doesn't film all of my time. You know what I mean? So I still have extra time, and it's like, oh, I guess I'll just play video games then. That's what I do when I have extra time, you know? Like, and I'll play video games and stuff, and it's just like, it's not that fun anymore. And I don't and I'm already a person who enjoys playing games with people more than alone.
Yeah. No. Like yeah.
So that kind of struck a string with me, or struck a note with me. when you said
Will, are you
that.
saying something? Your mic isn't working.
There we go.
All right.
I said I feel like you need to do something like something productive. It seems like you've been doing a lot of bullshit.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You need some productivity.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I have been.
You've been doing schoolwork stuff, which is good.
Yeah.
But on the other front, it seems like you're not doing much.
Yeah. I've
'Cause,
also been kind of stressed out.
there's
but
been a lot of
I have bills
yeah.
to pay still.
yeah. But there's been like 3 or 4 weeks now of like nothing.
Hmm.
Either the campaign needed to be boom ready to go, or you need to get like at least like silver in league or something, gold to show productivity. So far, all I've seen is a lot more anime YouTube being watched, less productivity.
Yeah, it gets to the point where I go get on YouTube and I'm like, I already watched.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I feel like you call me the bored motherfucker so much that you self-prophesized. Now you are the bored and not productive.
And tired.
No, I was the original board mother. Wait, was I?
No, Will was. You always
No.
called Will bored because he had so much free time.
Oh yeah.
You can't be
Yeah.
bored. Now you're
Yeah,
bored,
like, I
but
have
also
so much free time.
yeah. But
Actually-
I had free time and I was productive. Now you just have a lot of free. Now you're not.
What? No, I'm. Okay, yeah. I was like, okay, I define productive as getting what I need to do done, but that's not what productive.
No,
I'm
no, no,
sorry.
no, no, no. That's fine. Like, if in your life, like, all you want to get done is like the work and stuff, that's still fine. Like, you can come up straight, like, yeah, I got my homework done. Now I
Nah.
play video games. You can be straight up with that if that's what you enjoy. But what I'm saying is, like, it seems like that you haven't
I'm not
enjoyed as
fulfilled.
much. Yeah, I from what I can tell, it seems like you're not as fulfilled if you're falling asleep a lot. At least
Yeah.
from what I think. But hey, man, I don't know. Will, so now it's your turn. So I went on I gave the whole history of canons. Well, the history of 2018 Goblin Slayers to now canon D&D. Why don't you give your side of it and how you hate gaslighting and stuff? You can get into this.
I
Is
feel
your
like Will
this is
just
your time.
talks about this so much. He's
Well, this
numb.
is your time to shine.
Will's become so.
Most of the key points were already approached. Literally, that was the point. Like, the timeline was so. I felt like Canon just gave a timeline that he couldn't actually fulfill for whatever reason you want to believe. That is. Some believe it was because he was busy. Others believe he just didn't want to do it because he's lazy. That's where my belief lies. Personally. As harsh as it is, I don't. Some people just
I
operate
can't-
differently.
I mean, how did you, here's the thing. Well,
Canon has, hold on.
okay.
I'm just saying, I still am working my normal hours. I still have obligations with family and taking care of my dog and stuff like that. And I still pipe out my session every week
What are you talking
for
about?
people to play.
Your cousin gave you all the material for that.
No, wait, hold on,
No.
Cannon, hold on.
He gave me the material for the first 2 sessions. But I
Canon,
took it over myself.
I think last summer one of my favorite excuses was when, like, after the semester end you said, like, I'd have so much time during the summer, and then during the summer you literally messaged us, or no, you didn't message me because Will always messaged you to complain about it, but you messaged Will and you're like, no, Cannon, I want to see your face in the reaction. I want to see how you react to this shit. You message
okay.
Will and you're like, yo, dude,
I'm
I'm actually so busy though, cause like I don't think you understand, like, I have work, like, the other people in the Discord aren't as busy, but, like, I have work to do, like, over the summer. And then Will's just like, motherfucker, we all have work. What do you mean you have work?
Oh, yeah, I
Like,
remember
we
that.
literally all have work. What do you mean you can't run a campaign because you have
I
work?
actually-
All of us work. What? What does that mean? And I remember Will was fuming. He messaged me. He was like, Jack, you won't fucking believe this. I was like, oh, shit, I can't wait. What is this? This is super interesting.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Will,
Yeah.
that's why I want you to. So I want you to go through and describe how you, your perspective has changed from 2018 to now. Because like I said, I never had any hopes. I think after this.
2018, I was hopeful. I kept believing, Cannon's gonna get together. This time I'm gonna motivate him. And
Oh,
every
you
time
like
it just
roll over a situation.
every time it just seemed like I get you're stubborn and it's hard, like you want to do things in your own time, but goddamn, man, it is just your own time is like awful. Like it is like like the average person could get like 4 sessions out by the time you finish one. Like it's unreal. I'm just so confused.
No, because I know I have the ability, like session planning, right?
Alright, hold on. Here's my problem. I know how you want to like plan everything out, but the longer you've continued this process of being like, oh, I want to make sure everything's planned, the higher my expectations are. So if they don't reach those expectations I have in my mind, then I'm gonna be very disappointed.
I know. Here's my problem, and I was thinking about this too. I was thinking like, okay, hypothetical. I don't want to be a gaslighting bitch, but I am, I guess. Uh, let's say we start the campaign and we're playing, right? And then we do these things, but then like the party synergy is bad or something like that. I would feel like terrible, right?
Well, that's why
Like,
you're doing the one shot thing though.
that's why I'm doing the one shot thing ahead of time as well. And yeah, I was thinking about running the one shot too before we actually set a date for the campaign start, because I feel like it just might be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I would just set a date for the. No, but Will, I wanted to, and I want so every time like what I wanted to hear from you was like your mindset 2018, canon rebuttal, then like after his excuses, summer 2019, canon rebuttal to like, hey, no, that's not right, and then winter, and then now, like I wanted those 3 progression dates, like right at the end of 2018, what your expectations were, how they planned out, then during the summer of 2019, and then like recently. I wanted that like progression of like what happened.
Cannon knows what my expectations are, and every time I've been disappointed. With some sort
But
of
how do you
excuse.
keep getting re-disappointed? Because I feel like after the first or second time, you should be like, "Gosh, fuck this guy!" Like this.
Because
isn't
I
happening.
believe that people, there's no physical way that anyone can do this so many times and have so little, like.
Guys, you're making me sound really bad on this podcast. Holy shit.
Well, defend yourself then. Defend yourself with points and say like you're wrong.
I'm just saying there's other aspects than D&D to canon.
Then explain
No,
it. You can defend yourself, Cannon.
That's
is
the
your
topic.
Yeah,
Unless
this
you wanna bring up the
this is
topic.
your opportunity to
No.
like to talk and like defend yourself and be like, no, that's wrong. I was actually busy. Like I was really like 18 hours of my day, or like, oh, maybe
No,
I was like.
well, the problem is
Exactly.
it's priority, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
like I realize it's like over the summer, like when I'm not in quarantine, when I can go outside, I can people. I'm a very social person, and I will fill my time, right? I will
Mhm.
fill my time with like everything, right? I'll my dad, like let's say like yard work or something like that, where someone asked to hang out and stuff like that. I realized I was doing every day of summer, and the days I didn't have something to do, something to like just like keep me in the moment there, that didn't require a lot of forethought to like go and do, then I was like on my ass like, what the fuck do I do with my day? And then I like it's not like it wasn't like, oh, I'll like cool, I have a day to like relax and maybe like plan or something. It was like I woke up, I overslept, and I was like, oh, I didn't have a reason to wake up.
Except
Do
for
you wanna
playing
tell
D&D. That's a good
Do you
reason.
want to tell the people of the podcast your schedule of how your day gets used?
And from day to day.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 4.
That was a little bit of a meme, and you guys just ran with it.
wait, hold on. You also said, wait, that actually didn't start with me and Will. That started with you. You told us like my brain only works from 10 to 4, guys. You're expecting too much, dude. Oh my God, this was so good. This happened this semester, this year, January. Cannon was telling us, okay, guys, here's the problem. I wake up for class, and then like my brain only works from 10 to 4, and then after that I'm tired, guys. Like I have to go to work, and then I come home, and then my brain's just not working anymore.
No,
My
that's
brain
what
only
you-
works from 10 to 4.
No. What I was saying was
Oh.
like, oh, let's say
Oh.
day I go to school in the morning and I have like and then I go to work and I work until 8 p.m. Right? By the time it's 8 p.m., like when I'm at work, I start like my brain starts clocking out of that point because I'm like, fuck this, I don't want to be here. But and so by the time I get home, I'm like, okay, well, I just want to like relax, and because if I have homework to finish, I'll finish that. But at that point, it's like, especially if I've had to do homework that night, I've been up since 10 until then 8 p.m. and I haven't been home. And I get home, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll do my homework that I need to, and I just want to play video games until midnight when I have to go to bed.
And that's perfectly reasonable. But you didn't. Why did you say your brain only works from 10 to 4?
Ugh.
You gave us.
I was hyperbolating.
Ken, I want you to be completely honest with me. When was the last time you put a significant amount of effort into the campaign?
What day is it today? It's Friday.
It is Friday.
Wednesday afternoon. 2 hours. I worked on it.
Alright, now how many hours of active work was it compared to
Of the 2 hours?
looking at it? Yeah, of the 2 hours of how many hours were spent on Snapchat or your
Oh,
YouTube
I couldn't
video?
roll on in the background, so I would say I was but the whole time. So the equivalent of like an hour and a half of work
Okay, how many hours total have you worked on it though? Then.
on the campaign.
Yeah, in general.
I would say it would be greedy to say it was more than
You cut out.
Or
You said it
30.
would be greedy to say more than what?
like 30 or 40.
40 hours already?
No, it would be greedy to say it's more than 30 or 40.
You've spent 40 hours on it? Wait, Cannon, please be honest here, because here's the thing. There was the meme that happened in 2018, because there was this one time you told us, like, you spent 17 hours planning D&D, and then we made that meme, Cannon's the best DM. He spent 17 hours planning our session. Be honest here, Cannon, okay? Don't fuck yourself over, because this is how memes get started. When you say things like, man,
Yeah.
I planned, like, 40 hours for this, and then Will's like, damn, 40 hours. I have hope again. Will's like, oh, I'm getting gaslit. I'm so happy. Cannon's going to be the best DM. I have so much hope. And that's how
So-
that's how we'll get fucked.
I have one book for the campaign setting,
Okay.
and then I have another book as a compendium for monsters, spells, other things like that I've
Yep.
made for homebrew stuff.
Okay. So
So-
Will can be hopeful again, yeah?
Don't just like if you
Dude,
play
40
D&D,
hours is a
like,
lot of fucking time. I'm not gonna lie.
But it's world building. Like I flush out cities and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So it's
but
like if you go somewhere, I won't be caught off guard.
I feel like that's one of the big mistakes of like DMs is like when they're trying to like big brain their whole like world and they're like,
No,
I need to
no, it's
create
like-
like everything like ahead of time. Well, it's like in Awad's case, I felt like it made sense because he's running like campaigns in multiple parts of his world. Versus like if you want to just like run something, I do understand your perspective because like if I was a DM, of course I'd want to do that. Like I'd be big braining
I'm
like all this
I'm
stuff.
trying to mix this style of Goblin Slayers and meet it somewhere in between Goblin Slayers and Awad's campaign.
Yeah.
Awad has a very I think it's like a
Awad's
political
gonna watch this.
spectrum. That's fine. That's fine. I think it's a political spectrum, and I think Awad knows this, but it's like Awad goes like all the way to one side, and he's like, "Yo, this is like open world. Anything can happen. The world takes even if you don't do anything." I was like, "Oh, that's cool." But in reality, I look back at it, and I'm like, I could never finish a game like Skyrim, right? Because Skyrim, it's like you have so many choices that it in so little like specific direction, unless you just say, "Hey, fuck all these side quests. I'm literally just gonna keep doing the main story and keep going," and then you tell yourself you're gonna do that, right? Well, I've never finished Skyrim because it's like, well, I'm not willing to sacrifice the side questing and stuff like that. But then I run out of direction and I don't have a goal to play for the next time I get on and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, well, I've just run out of reason to play this game for myself, right? So that I feel like that's Awad's campaign, where it's like he'll throw us bones sometimes, but at the end of the day, that world runs on its own, and we need to make our own goals and decisions.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
Where
I think that makes
Goblin
sense.
Slayers was the exact opposite. It was episodic. You
Yeah.
guys were throwing a bone at every session, and
Awesome.
there wasn't an overarching plot.
I love
And the
it.
world, while it did have mechanics that did make it feel like a world, in my opinion, it was very much there for you, and you could tell.
Yeah, I thought once you introduced the bigger cities, it felt like pretty coherent as far as like a world is concerned. Once you had the bigger cities in there.
And I want to meet somewhere in the middle, where you
Yeah.
guys, if you guys make your own decisions and you guys have, that's cool. But as soon as you like pick an option, I'll guide you through those options.
Cool.
You know what I mean? I'll give you direction through those things because that, and I'm not gonna make it linear per se, but it's like listen.
Yeah,
if you
Cannon,
guys say
don't
you wanna
worry.
Kill the necromancer.
Cannon, don't worry. I have no worries about you running a campaign, okay? I loved when you ran stuff, alright? I've never had a problem with
Sure.
you running stuff. I
That's a lie. That is a fat lie.
Oh,
The old
really?
one shot. The old one shot. When Cannon let us fight
Oh,
that
Oh,
vampire
that
for
yeah, that
2
shit was
hours.
really
the
stupid.
level
Yeah.
10 one shot.
That
I
was
miss-
really stupid.
Yeah.
But I don't blame him as much for that because the thing is, Canon really did not understand that level 10 characters, especially a party of 8 of them, is pretty much equivalent of a demigod at that point.
Dude, there were so many people in my house. Holy shit.
Yeah, Canon. My big criticism, along with Will, and this is what Will told me, is like I don't know why Canon didn't just like make it like the dude disappear if we weren't supposed to catch
He
him
wanted
because
to take the
we waited
hostage.
2 hours. Yeah, I know, and that's why we were like, yo, this has to be the final boss. He's so intent on taking the hostage. Let's kill him now. And if you didn't want us to kill him, just make him disappear. Like, anyways, that was a blunder.
Okay, so
but I
my-
get it.
my
I
big
get it.
Problem, no. Actually, I want to say because this is one of the things.
Cannon, you
John?
cut out for me. Sorry, what happened?
Oh, I want to say because this is one of the things as a DM I feel like I'm done. I was so set, like on following the rules, and I was like, vampires can't do that. I'm like, fuck that. I'm the DM.
Yeah, exactly. You're God. You can pull
Why?
out cloak.
People have more power than the DM.
No,
Players have more
Cannon.
power than-
Cannon. Next time, just be like cloak a counter net, and then he can't get netted by that motherfucker who netted him. down.
Exactly. Yeah.
There you go.
Although Graham, the thing was, I didn't want to cut Graham out of the net because
It was a
because
pretty cool
he
feature
rolled
of his
really
thing.
high. No,
Yeah.
he rolled really high.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to
He
fuck with
rolled
the
like
player.
a 19 or a 20 or something.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, obviously it was a while ago. But also, this was the problem I had. Oh fuck! I just lost my train of thought.
This is the problem you had
In the original D&D campaign that started
the
over
John
that one
campaign.
summer, the John campaign with Kermit the Frog, right? The reason
Like
was
him and made you the Messiah.
I was the Messiah.
Fuck off,
What are you now?
dude. Wait, Cannon. Wasn't Brian the one who came to us and started first being like, guys, I want to play D&D? Wasn't
Of the THA boys.
no? Cannon, me,
Yeah,
Brian,
then
and Alex.
I DM'd. Then I DM'd. I learned the rules for you fucks because you didn't want to.
Might I remind you what happened in that first campaign you ever ran?
I
You
didn't
let
know the
Alex,
rules that well.
you let Alex stick his dragonborn cock inside this
Cannon,
hole to like open a
Cannon,
lever
when you say,
with the dick
when you
lips.
say that you learned the rules so no one else did, how hard did you learn the rules? Because we've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for like 8 years, and you still don't know the rules of your cards that you play.
That campaign was just like getting our feet wet, you know?
Yeah,
And
but
so-
Cannon, here's the problem. You told us like you read the entire thing, and then like after the first you said, "Oh yeah, I actually only read half of it." And then after the second session,
Hold on.
we were like, "Oh, what happened?" And Cannon's like, "Actually, this is the end of it." Turns out it was actually only like 2 pages, and
Okay, because-
I was just so confused. Like, what did you mean by like you first you went
No.
back and forth. First, you started telling us like you read the whole thing. Then you're like, "Wait, I actually only read half." And then
No,
you're
I
like, "Oh, it's
skimmed
only
the
2
whole
pages."
thing.
Motherfucker, dude, and then like you made us fight these things that 2-shot us because they had like
So
extra attack, but
I was
each
like,
of them hit.
oh, I should listen to someone else who's made a campaign before and who's done these things. So I ran a module. I didn't use a D&D
Yeah,
module.
this was a
I used
homebrew
some random.
module.
I didn't know about this stuff. Okay, I didn't know.
you fuck. Anyways,
I didn't know.
but
I'd
here's the
never
thing,
seen
Cannon.
it before.
Here's the thing,
It was my
Cannon.
first time
But
DMing.
Cannon, here's the thing. I don't blame you for it. I just think it's funny, okay? Because I don't
Yeah.
blame you. First time DM, you're like
But-
15-year-old innocent pre-Estelle Cannon at the time, okay?
Okay,
I don't
listen,
blame you for
this-
that.
I just want to add context in here because this is my first time DMing. We said we wanted to DM. No one else
Yeah.
from-
Again, Cannon.
I did
Everyone
it, and-
understands this was 15-year-old 5 years ago, pre-Estelle, pre-NTR Cannon. Okay, I get
I
it.
tried to
Who
look
no
still
one
everything
doesn't
up.
read.
There's a lot of rules when you first playing and no one knows what
No,
they're
Cannon.
doing.
I agree. That's not your fault. And then,
But
but
then
my
you guys
point,
got
my
Iron
point,
Ball.
my point is that you're not the Messiah. Okay, fucking stop with that
What's up?
shit. You are
Oh,
not the
it's just
Messiah.
What the hell? I totally am.
Will hates that shit when you call yourself the Messiah. He's like, my God, how much harder can you gaslight me?
Because in my thing, you're not even like in my view, you're Messiah.
Will, you're
Because,
cutting
like,
out right now.
Oh,
Well,
in
no.
my view, he's not the Messiah because, even when it comes to, because being the person to first introduce doesn't even make you the Messiah. Like that's
What
how
the
it
fuck is your
works. But-
face going on, Cannon? You keep nodding. You're like.
But the what do you? But the first like Messiah thing, it was someone, I forgot who it was. Someone DM'd, I think, yeah, Ken DM for John, and then John was the one who taught all the THA boys, and then Cannon acts like it was him because he taught John, but then someone taught Cannon, or like brought the idea to
Yep.
Cannon, so therefore it's just, it doesn't mean you like.
I mean, to be fair though, like it was during a period of time when D&D was starting to gain a lot of power. So, I'm
Well,
not
don't tell
speculating.
Kukla you're the Messiah, because he'll blame you for all this.
No, true.
Oh, Kukla's
No,
actually watches these, so he'll know.
I
Now.
just like it was. Obviously, it's a joke.
What
but-
about when you called yourself the savior and Will got really mad? He was like, "Fuck you, Cannon, gaslighting me,
What?
calling yourself the savior." You said like, "Don't worry, guys, I will save us all. I am the savior of D&D." And Will was triggered. He was like, "Shut the fuck up. This is the gaslighting bullshit you always pull. You're like, don't meme me." And then you say things like, "I'm the savior of D&D." Fuck off, Cannon.
Oh, I forgot about
Alright.
that. Holy
Well,
shit.
so moving on to this, moving off of the D&D aspect, now that everything has gone through, and now that you have all your time, how are you going to go about motivating yourself?
I think he should move in with you, and then you can like.
No.
This was your idea, remember? Like last year, you're
Well,
like, "What if
your sister-
Cannon moves in with me, and then I like slap him and make him do this
No,
shit?"
I'm talking realistically. Realistically, how are you gonna motivate? Not just for D&D, but in the future stuff. How are you gonna use your time?
I think.
How is your time management going to improve?
I think I just have to learn discipline. To be honest, I think I have to learn how to discipline myself because that's something I really struggle with. Like I don't have a lot of discipline. I rely on motivation, and so that's why I chose I could never work in a career where I wasn't motivated.
Wait, what do you
You know what I mean?
consider the difference between discipline and motivation? Because this is something that's interesting.
Motivation has an inherent inclination for you to want to do something, right? So like you are literally motivated to go and do it, whereas discipline's like, oh, this would be good, and you just do it. Even like if your interest level isn't high, you're content doing that, and you realize there's a reason why you're doing it, and that you have a goal in mind.
So the way I differentiate it for me, and this isn't a definition, this is just the way I like to think about it, just to create like a larger gap between the two, is that motivation is always something that's waning, but like you said, you want to do it, you're happy to do it. In my opinion, when you're disciplined to do something, it's something you don't want to do. Like that doesn't have to be all the time. But my idea of like trying to think about it is like if you want to become disciplined, you kind of have to think about it that way. It's like this is some shit I do not want to do, but I will do. Like you don't want to wake up at 5 like when you wake up at 5 a.m. and you have something that you have to do because you have to wake up for, you're like, "Man, I do not want to do this. I'm not motivated for this at all. Fuck this." But then you still get up and you do it. That's the way
Yep.
like I think about discipline. Now that's not an actual like good definition to use because there's obviously so many other ways to like extrapolate that and like talk about it. But that's the mindset I feel like you have to approach it with if you actually want to like think about discipline.
Yeah, I think that for me, it's with that idea of like a hierarchy of right? What's your priority levels, right? Because it's like D&D might sound good, right? Like you were saying earlier, but then at the end of the day, it's like, well, if it's 8 o'clock at night and I just got home, what would I rather be doing right now, right? So I feel like discipline is being able to move past what you want in that priority list and do things how you think they should be done for the goals that you have in mind.
Does that satiate you, Will? What he said?
Sure.
See,
No,
it doesn't.
I don't think
It
it should.
doesn't satiate me because, in my opinion, the reason I wanted to have this is to have this
That's all
conversation is because
idealistic.
this conversation is something we've already had many of times, and insanity is to do something and expect like do the same thing, expect different results.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I
what
can't
is
think-
what is different, Cannon? What would you do differently to like create a
I-
stimulus for yourself to like be like, man, this is different this time, so I can succeed because it's not the same as before. Now I'm doing X, which is different, and now I can succeed. Like you have this attitude.
Listen, I think the problem here is that there's been so many things that's led Will.
Cannon, you cut out. You said there's been so many things that led Will, and then you cut out for me.
Oh, there's been so many things that led Will to be so depressed when it comes to me and D&D, right? So he's so low, like in expectations, right? I'm kidding. I mean, no. There's been a lot of time.
You're cutting out again. Cannon, you're cutting out again.
The downfall is I expected so highly of Ken.
Yeah,
Ken,
yeah, so-
my good friends, I expect very highly of him,
No,
and he has proved to me that he's shit.
no, see, no. Like even no meme though. It's like it's like that's Will's expectation now, and I don't think it's worth like my words are worth shit anymore to him. You know, And it's like, that's fine. I understand that. So it's like, if anything happens, I'm going to have to do it with my actions. And there's no point in saying anything because it's not going to work for Will anymore.
I must be proven. Yeah,
And there's
I
no
must
point.
see it
There's no
not.
point. I have to show with my actions that I can.
So what if you like submitted an activity log to Will so you can track
I'm
your
not-
like
I'm not-
activity?
No, I don't want that. Literally.
Wait, you said you
I'm
wanted
not-
to do that before, where you want to like keep an activity
Yeah,
log of what he does.
I don't think that's gonna change anything. What I
Will's not my mom when I'm in
The-
13.
It sounds like your mom isn't forcing you to do stuff.
the
Oh,
only
no,
thing
she can't. Yeah.
the only thing that I want to see is progression of some sense. I either want to see this campaign start,
Or I want you to
or
do
I
better
want
in
to see
League.
Cannon hit silver.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god,
Or
exactly.
I want him to be really good at like another game. Like I've seen slight improvements in CS, which is nice.
But that's like.
But that's
I don't
that's
care.
beginner improvement though. That's
Eventually you're gonna get
that's
good
yeah,
at
that's
walking.
mechanical beginner improvement
Yeah.
is the problem. That's
Yeah,
like
but
beginner
I want to
games.
see actual improvements in something that isn't school, because I could give two shits about that. You should be doing well in school.
Yeah.
That's how it
You
works.
see if I'm in engineering, it's competitive out there.
Yeah, I want to see improvements of some sort. That's all I want. It could honestly, I would be okay. I would be okay if you didn't have the D&D campaign, if you were improving in League or something else. But there's no improvement anywhere else. You still run it down a zillion in my game. You still run it down. So I just need something. That's why I'm
Fair. I
only
can
gonna
tell-
take
I can
actions.
tell you care about me as a friend.
I do. I only do this because I care.
What do you think about that statement, Jack?
Oh yeah, it's just like so that's what I mean is like I've given up on you in many senses, right? It's like
Oh.
and that's like not a good friend thing to do, but in my opinion that's the reality of the situation. It's the way I
Well,
always
you're very pragmatic.
yeah, the way I equated this always was you guys don't watch Smallville, but it was pretty much like it was the Superman show that was going on for 10 years before from 2000 2010, and pretty much the way they did that in that show was that Lex Luthor was actually like a better human being type of, and he was actually friends with Clark before, but he kept doing shady stuff, and eventually Clark like gave up on him, but that led Lex down a darker path. So the way I always thought about it was that Clark really regretted his actions in abandoning his friend, because if he had stayed with Lex and tried to like make him a better human being, instead of being one of his greatest enemies, he would have actually been an ally to him, maybe, right? By convincing him, maybe you should take a more heroic approach. I know you're doing like bad, like quote bad things, but you have good intentions and try to lead him to a better road. That's what I equate like. Eventually, so that was like Clark's like fuck up. So in my sense, I'm doing the Clark thing where I'm giving up on you, Cannon. So you're gonna go down a dark road, but Will's being a good person and helping you out. So I mean, you'll hate Will for it now, but maybe he helps you, in your life.
Well,
and
Will's
improve and
not
stuff.
helping me. He's just saying like, "Yo, dude, you gotta do this."
Yeah, and that's good. You need friends to intervene for you, whereas I don't do that shit. So
That's
I'm trying just to light a fire under your ass. If it makes you mad, if you do something, then sure. Then that's
Well, I'm just stubborn, and I don't like when people tell me what to do.
yes.
Exactly.
You're very stubborn. But the problem is, you need a boot in the ass to actually get anything done.
Yeah. I remember specifically. So my grandma's one of her best friends is a college application like coach, right? She runs her own office. It's a business, and like she's retired now, and that's just what she does for money now. As like a retiree, she works like 3 days or 4 days out of the week, and she has clients, right? Um, and I remember she was like, Katie is like my grandmother. She was like, she's such a good friend to me, and if I can help you guys out for her, then let's do that. This was something like I was a junior in high school, and she like looked at my report card, and I was like, I had like in high school, I was like close to a 3.0 GPA by the end, right? Not quite 3, like 2.9 or 2.7 or something. I think it was 2.7 unweighted, 2.9 weighted was my GPA by the end, because my grades at the end were pretty good, but my grades in the beginning of high school were really bad, like C's mostly and some B's, and like 1 or 2 A's out of all of those, like all those first 4 semesters. And so she was like, yeah, dude, I can help you, but you're gonna have to get like all A's. And she like started telling me about like all these things I would have to do, and she was like trying to like make me like make a schedule and stuff like that. And I remember I was just so stubborn that I ended up not going back. And she probably could have helped me get into like fucking Stanford if I wanted to, because quite literally her son got into like Harvard or something like that, and she helps people get into Ivy all the time.
Yeah, maybe don't be as stubborn.
Maybe, but I don't know how to do that.
Unlucky.
and that makes it sound like I'm lazy, but and the thing is like it wasn't that I was like lazy. It was more that it was like I have a very strong need
Yeah,
for
you're
things.
no, I know what your archetype is, Canon. You're the
Yeah.
arrogant asshole genius, but the problem is you're not a
Ah.
genius, so it just makes you kind of look like a lazy piece of shit. No, 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 no,
Oh.
no, no, no. Here's the thing. No, no, I'm actually being more serious though. Like, think about it. So the reason that like Sherlock Holmes, Tony Stark, like the characters that Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, if
plays
he
actually
wasn't
like,
actually
right?
good, he would be a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he would be like everyone on Reddit. They're always they're the pseudo intellectual, right? If you're like a genius, right, you can get away with this kind of bullshit because you're like good at everything, and then you do really well in school and in life and in general and other stuff, right? And you can be kind of an asshole.
Sure.
But if you're not if you're not a genius and you're stubborn, and then you're like doing like mediocre to better than average, people just think you're
Mhm.
kind of a stubborn asshole. Like rather, and they don't see your good qualities, which you have good qualities, but when people look at the other things, they'll be like, oh, he's a lazy piece of shit, you know. It's hard to look past to your other good qualities. At least in my opinion, like they have to
Fair
be
enough.
closer to you. All right. Well, anyways, Will, you have any last comments for Canon? Because this last section has been a
Yeah,
doozy.
there's just been a whole canon episode.
That's why we had you on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have had the kook episode.
Apologies.
Yeah. We were just curious what was going on during this time. But yeah, Will, do you have any last things to say, or Canon? 'Cause
Hmm. I just want to see canon improve by doing, and once that happens, I'll once again be proud in my.
mm-hmm. You have anything to say, Canon?
I think that's fair.
Okay.
That's a fair assessment of based on past happenings.
I wish we were documenting this whole thing like throughout the
Oh,
entire like all year. I could have made like Breaking Point like CPS or some shit, and it's been a great docu series. But anyways, this has been Get My Rants episode 8, and we're gonna be out.